Okay, so we've got another episode of Card Steals and Deals. Um, I mentioned this in I think the last few videos that we got this Shaq rookie in the eBay lot we bought. I mean, it wasn't like one big lot, but we bought a bunch of cards and it like made like a $20-something card. And we got this Shaq. I don't know if this is really his rookie or his second year. It says 93, but it's top prospects. It's either his rookie or the year after his rookie. So it's still a cool card to have. And I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, so if it is his rookie, then it's a really cool card to have. And him being LSU guy, he's one of my favorite older players. And I only paid $250 for this card, so even if it's just a second year Shaq, I mean, you can tell there's some whitening on the corners. But for the most part, pretty good condition for a Hall of Famer that was only $2.50, and it's not even his college jersey or anything. So I think the vintage cards, pretty much, I think all the vintage cards are undervalued, except like the really, really old stuff, because people are just going to buy it just because it's really, really old. Pretty much anything from the 80s to 90s to early 2000s that's not LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, because their stuff is high. And I mean, I think it's undervalued too, honestly. But the Shaq, like the Shaqs, the Tim Duncans, like the top 10 players of all time caliber guys, but their cards aren't even that expensive. So I think these kinds of cards are very underrated. Next, I want to talk about something that it's not as much of a smart way to make money off cards as it is more of just enjoyment in the hobby, and that is breaks. So we did a break and got the. So one thing I would recommend in breaks is you've got to outweigh you're probably not going to make the most profit. You've got to breaks are kind of for fun because you're just hoping to see your team do good. So if you're doing a random team break, it can be risky because, I mean, you're risking a lot because let's say you're doing a football one, you could get a team like the Patriots whose best rookie is a safety that might not ever even end up being anything good in the NFL. But you could also get a team like the Chargers and get Herbert. So, you got to outweigh the risks. So, breaks are really risky. And then there's the ones where you can pick your teams. And, the ones like that, the Chargers, Bengals, or in NBA last year it was Pelicans, Grizzlies, are going to be the most expensive. But if you're like let's say, a Jazz fan, you can get your team pretty easily in breaks like that. But breaks are very good and bad at the same time because, so we did one and got, I think it was contenders and rookies and stars. And we got 3 Albert O's, 1 KJ, and 1 Crusade White Jerry Jeudy, which I didn't realize it was actually pretty good. I paid like $10 to get in the break. And since this is like a $20-something card, and I'm a pretty big Jeudy fan, so it's a pretty cool card to have. Because the base version of this is like a $5 card, but since this is the white variation, you can see the prism. That means it's a variation. It's like a $25 card, so it's a pretty good card. And I think wide receiver is one of the most underrated positions you can have in all sports. Because in like football, I know it's quarterback's number one, and it's always going to be because you've got guys like Brady who are playing up until their 40s. So in football, it's always going to be quarterbacks are number one. But after that, wide receiver I think should be the top thing because it's one of the main skill positions. Because offense is probably always going to be higher than defense just because it's offense. In basketball, you're not investing in a guy like that's just a lockdown, like Andre Roberson, when you could invest in a guy like Harden, Same thing in football. Besides the crazy, crazy guys like the Aaron Donalds, the crazy good defensive corners like Richard Sherman a couple years back, like the guys who can do some crazy stuff on defense. Other than that, defensive rookies just aren't that crazy. But wide receiver and running back should be the top 2 and 3. And wide receiver is just a safer pick too. Because that's one of the reasons why quarterback's so expensive. It's one of the main positions on offense in football. Well, wide receiver and running back are the other two like main positions, and there's tight end, but some tight ends are used almost like offensive linemen. Now, like a receiving type tight end, like a Travis Kelce, yeah, he should be right up there with the wide receivers in value. But you can have guys like who's Julio Jones, who's in his 30s, who's playing crazy good. I mean, I know he's kind of had not the best year this year, but Matt Ryan is probably on the downward spiral too in his 30s. But wide receiver, I feel like it's just safer than running back too, because a guy like Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley was the main running back in the league, and then he barely even made it to the Falcons, and it's untelling what he's going to be doing this offseason, or I meant next season. And a guy like Derrick Henry or McCaffrey, I mean, think too, the top. If you play fantasy, Saquon and Christian McCaffrey were the two top running backs to get just about this year. And Derrick Henry, too. I took Henry in a couple drafts, but most drafts, McCaffrey, Saquon go first two. And what do? They both had injuries. Running back's just a risky position because injuries are just really tough on running backs. So, football is good, but I wish like the receivers got a little bit more respect in value. But I know like defense, it's just not even close. Also, there's one thing. I know a bunch of stores have started doing this. Most of my local stores have not, but a bunch of stores have started doing the thing where like you can only get like 2 per customer, which is really good because I know it kind of stinks if you walk into Walmart and they've got 20 boxes, 20 hangers, and 20 blasters, whatever, of Prism football, or whenever Prism basketball comes out, it'll stink that you can't just buy it all. But I would rather be able to go once a week and get a box than just luck up one time and get a bunch and then maybe never see it again, But unfortunately, my local Walmarts and stuff have not started doing that yet. Hopefully the Target in Lexington has by now. So maybe the next time we go to Target, we'll look up. But if stores like the ones around here continue to do it where basketball and football are pretty much impossible to find, that's one other crazy thing around here too. Football's even crazy around here. Like, I know some stores playbook and playoff and contenders just sits. None of that happens here. If it's basketball or football, it's gone. Baseball and hockey sit on shelves here, and that's it. And baseball sometimes gets bought too. And that's another thing I want to say. I think baseball is one of the more underrated. I mean, it's one of America's favorite sports. And I feel like if basketball and football start to just go so extreme where you could never find it like it is around here, baseball is going to be the next thing. Because hockey, I understand a bunch of people like hockey a lot, but it's just not a sport that everybody can play. That's one thing about basketball. Anybody can play basketball. I can go outside and shoot a basketball all by myself. And you don't even have to have a goal. You can just dribble and stuff. Football, you've got to have 2 people. I mean, unless you're throwing it up to yourself, But basketball, that's one reason why basketball has become so popular, is because, just in general in sports, not just in the card market. It's just something that anyone can do. Football, you got to have 2 people. Baseball, you got to have teams. You got to have at least like 4 people. I mean, I guess, yeah, you've got to have like a decent amount of players to play baseball or football. And then like soccer, I'm not the biggest soccer knower, so, I don't know much about it. But that's one of the reasons I feel like basketball rose so much in popularity. But baseball, at one time was the thing. And that's why we got this. It's the Topps like Christmas box. I don't know. If y'all want me to open it on the channel, I will. I don't really know that much about baseball, so I might end up hitting like the equivalent of the Mike Trout of this year and have no idea who it is. So, but if you all want to see me open this, I will. So just comment if you want to see me open some baseball, and comment who some of the top rookies are. I'm a Dodgers fan, so I'm pretty glad about the signing today if you didn't see. So, yeah, that was pretty awesome today. What else is there? We're going to try to get an IRL football video, which I'm very excited to say, or at least an IRL basketball. IRL basketball is easier because, football, it'll probably be 2-man touch or something. I love tackle football, but not everybody is crazy about playing tackle football. If I can even get them to play tackle football. But we'll try to have something this week, some IRL sports. I don't know if it'll be basketball or football, but we will try to get something. So just stay tuned if you want to see that. Comment if you want to see me open the baseball or if I should just keep it sealed. I'm tempted to just keep it sealed because if I ever get in the baseball, I can open it, and if I don't, it's still sealed and it'll just increase in value. But if you want to see me open it, I'll open it. And I think that's about it. So, like, comment, subscribe, and we're out.